Oh no.
I'm not going to remember it. I'd have to go
I'm not
back
gonna
and
remember it
listen
either.
to the last show.
Yeah. But still, how's it happening? We'll keep that. We know what that is.
Yeah.
And we're going to go at least 2 shows without knowing what this one is because, yes, it's
It
another
may.
twofer.
It's another twofer. I'm going to be out of town next week.
You're
So
going to be, haha.
we
So,
have to
hey,
bank it.
get all of Ben's stuff, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of my
So,
all of my stuff.
the GudeLaurance podcast brought to you by Waterloo Orange Vanilla Sparkling Water.
Also brought to you by regular out of the tap water.
Regular out of the tap. You've got some, hopefully. Sorry, Michigan. Does Flint, Michigan still not have
I
drinking
don't
water?
think they're the only ones. I think it goes further than Flint. They're just the most famous.
Further
Thanks to
than
Michael
Flint,
Moore.
The Ben Lawrence story. So here's something also. Sinead O'Connor died yesterday.
Sinead O'Connor did pass away yesterday. Of
So
unknown
use that to
causes
figure
from
out
what I know.
what day we're recording.
Yeah.
Wasn't she in Seattle for a little bit?
Like living
Didn't she
here?
show up to Seattle and like it was on the news or something that she was in? Or maybe it was on social media.
Idea.
Yeah. Riding a bicycle, if I'm not mistaken.
Just
I don't
like
know
down
exactly.
The street.
Yeah, I think so. So it's hot here. It's so hot. How hot is it?
How hot is it?
Betty's room isn't insulated, and so she's sleeping in our room. And I'm sleeping on a chair.
Your child's room is not insulated against the weather?
Well, I mean, it isn't as insulated as well as the rest of the house.
So does it get super cold in the wintertime in there?
It gets super cold in the wintertime, gets super hot in the summertime. Yeah.
That is unfortunate.
It is a
So
thing.
she is sleeping in your room and you've been relegated to the couch?
No, I have a chair that I sleep in. Do you remember the chair? We've talked about the chair before.
Yeah, you used to sleep in the chair almost exclusively.
Yeah. And now and I found the chair and I found my sleeping bag suit that I always sleep in with the chair. It was just like old times. It was pretty nice. There's a strange shadow on my face that I can't seem to get rid of. Maybe it's fine. Maybe I look
You're
mysterious.
haunted. It's a specter coming over you.
Haunted. So, have you been watching, by any chance, on
Probably not.
Max, Full Circle?
No. I have not even heard
Steven
of it.
Soderbergh. You remember that guy?
He filmed a movie here a couple years ago.
Did he? What do you remember the name of the movie or anything about it?
Kimmy? I
Okay.
want to say it's Kimmy. All the exteriors were shot in Seattle, but all the interiors were shot on an LA soundstage.
Can I say that I like it when films are shot out of order? I find it really fun.
You've not acted in a major motion picture.
Oh, no.
It is
I have
Kimmy, starring Zoe Kravitz and Byron Bowers. The only reason
no.
I say that is because I just recently listened to a podcast with Mark Maron and Jim Gaffigan, and they were both. It was
Jim
WTF.
Gaffigan in Full Circle on Max.
WTF with Mark Maron, and they were talking about making movies and how they both have acted in movies and how they both think it is a little or a very seldom luxury when you film a movie in order, because as actors, and not like neither of them have been trained as actors, and so they need that continuity to maintain throughout filming.
You and I do not
otherwise you
need
shoot
that
like the love
continuity.
scene first.
Exactly. So you have your moment before, Ben. You have your moment before. No matter what you're doing, moment before. And what if your moment before doesn't match up with the scene before? Should be fine. Why did you enter the kitchen angry? You were happy just a second ago. Yeah, well, continuity, Ben.
You gotta find
Continuity, Ben. The Wonder Man. Oh, that's it. You have to get a business card now. Continuity, Ben. Underneath the Wonder Man.
I don't know if I want that to be my responsibility. That's
not
going
to be great.
I do not accept.
You're a video editor. It all
I,
makes sense.
I do not accept. That is somebody else's job.
It's a perfume factory, Ben. It makes sense. Ah, I did it. It's always good.
I
Always.
just realized that all
Nice.
the mess of wires behind me. You remember? I think it's Superman 2 when General Zod and the other Kryptonians go are. Oh no, maybe I think it's still Superman 2, but it's not General Zod. It's this one lady, and she gets like inside some sort of like case, and there are wires that like envelop her.
Huh.
It's a vague moment from a movie that I'm trying to
I
recall
don't
after
remember
like
that from
30
Superman
years
2.
after not seeing it.
But hey, can we
Um,
just for those people that are in the chat, can we just look at the fact that okay, so I basically have a receding hairline here, but then this patch of hair here. So there's not that much of a little bridge, but it looks like, especially when my hair is wet, it looks like I've gotten hair plugs on my bald spot.
did
It's the
you
weirdest
trim off the
choice.
ducktail?
I did, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Paul, where else are you going to get hair plugs placed?
When it well, but I don't have a bald spot. This is just my hair that's here. Do you think
That's
they
just what
bought
my
it,
hair
Ben?
looks.
We did it. We did it. All right. Yeah, it's funny. I went to no spoilers, and I'm not going to name names, but I went to school with a guy who
John Hamm.
apparently before he went to that wasn't him. Not him I'm talking about. Apparently
Ah,
before he went to
we've narrowed it
college.
down.
Yeah, exactly. Not John Hamm. Before he went away to college, his grandparents, I think, or somebody paid to get him either hair plugs or a toupee or something.
Oh,
And
he's
like
balding that early, huh?
in a yeah, and in a moment of like weakness or honesty, or maybe we were he either he mentioned it to me or his friend mentioned it to me with him around, and he kind of nodded.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, he was an okay guy. So everything's fine. And I didn't betray a confidence
I don't
because
know.
nobody knows who he is.
It seems like more and more people are becoming more open. I think having like wearing a toupee or getting hair plugs used to be like a mark of shame for guys, and
Uh-huh.
I think these days it's not so much. Well, hey, well, these days it's just like shave it off. There's nothing to be ashamed about. But like
Right.
if you want to have hair, like Jason Alexander, I think like once Seinfeld wrapped, he went and he got a hairpiece, and he was very open about it. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's A of all, it makes me feel good about myself, and B of all, I get work.
Yeah. Interesting. Speaking about, I feel good about myself today for the first day in a long time. I weighed myself and I was under. Well, I was directly at 200 pounds while wearing clothes. So it means that if I wasn't wearing clothes, I would be less than 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And this is a good trend. I'm not getting hungry, and this is all I'm doing, Ben, and I'm serious about this. Everything I eat, right? I'm trying to make sure it doesn't have any saturated fat or trans fat, right? And I cut out sugary drinks. Those
That's
are
a
the
good
two
start.
things. Also, I stopped drinking caffeine. Um,
Yeah.
I will say that yesterday was one of the more stressful days of my life, and I got kind of hooked into this thing of where I was just writing the same email over and over and over again, which made me a little crazy.
You and I had the same day yesterday then, because yesterday was the most stressful day of not of my life, but of the week.
Hmm.
Just having to do with work and being on a deadline and having the company that I'm working with scope creep the project. So what I agreed
Oh,
to in the amount of time was not what I was given in the short amount of time I was
yeah.
given. So it was pretty
So
dicey.
is this a client or is this a company that you were working? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
Yeah, it's a client. It's a boutique that I do work for a lot, and so I trust
Okay.
them. You know, they pay
Yeah.
their bills. They've never argued against one of my invoices, even though sometimes I'm like, yeah, that'll take this amount of time, and it actually takes X plus hours longer.
Yeah.
However, they proposed this project for me last week, and they're like, we're gonna give you all the assets 9 a.m. Monday or 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Can you give us a version 1 by 2 p.m.? And I'm like, well, that's a super tight turnaround. Can I look at what it is? And they sent me a brief, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds fine. And then over the course of that time, the storyboard from the graphic designer got more and more complicated. More things were added.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the designer who technically wasn't supposed to deliver the final assets until 9 a.m. or 9 a.m. on Wednesday, got them to me at 4 o'clock Tuesday night. So, you know what I did, Paul? I worked all night on it. I stayed here. I slept at the theater
all night.
Well, see, here's the thing. He gave me the stuff at 4 o'clock. I worked for an hour, and then there was an event here at Annex, so I had to work that because it was something that I agreed to do. At 9 o'clock, I got back when everything was done and the place was cleaned up and everybody was out. I got back to work. I worked until like midnight, and then I went and I slept on the couch for like 2 hours, and then at 2:30 in the morning, I came back. I started working again. And I did finally deliver the video to them at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I beat my deadline by like 3 hours, even though it took me probably twice as long as they gave me.
Now this is a good thing because I thought that what was happening. When were they going to give you the assets?
They were supposed to give it to me 9 a.m. on Wednesday night. 9 a.m. Wednesday morning.
See, I thought you were supposed to get it at 9 a.m. Wednesday morning, and you were supposed to give it to them at 2 on Wednesday morning, at 2 on Wednesday afternoon.
That was the original plan.
Okay.
That was the original agreed upon deadline, and luckily,
and then it got big, and you said make it the next day.
It got big, and on Tuesday, I said to the designer, look, if you can give me this now, even though they're still making small edits, the bones of the thing are there. Give me what you have now so I can start working on this. And he did. So
okay, I'm still confused. I'm still confused now. I apologize, Ben. So
I was supposed to
give you the assets when?
He was not asked to finish until 9 a.m. Wednesday morning, right?
Right.
That would have given me 5 hours to do a version 1 of the video because they wanted the video by 2 p.m. Now, what happened was Tuesday afternoon, he finished early. So
we went back in time. That was where I was confused.
We did go back in time. So Tuesday afternoon, the day before, he got to a point where I could start. So I asked him for everything he had, and I spent that night working on this video. So
Were you happy with it when it was done?
No. There were a lot of things that I wish I could have spent more time on. So a lot of it was, I don't want to say it was half-assed. Surprisingly enough, though, even though I gave it to them and I was like, when I gave them the video, I said, look, this isn't as polished as I like it to be, but I want to get this to you now because that's
version 1.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's version 1.
Yeah, version 1. And and they liked it. Oddly enough, they were like, "No, this is great." Just a few timing.
We don't need you to do any more of it.
Exactly.
You're done.
You blew through your budget. Goodbye.
So let me ask you another question. I don't know when the last time we talked about this, but it's something always near and dear to my heart. The little thing that we like to call rendering for videos. How long does it take now?
Not very long at all.
I didn't think so. Because that was we talked about this, I'm sure. One of the worst things about editing video back in the day was you render it, you watch it, and then there's like something that you have to fix, and then you have to render it again.
Some of my worst work experience as a freelancer is working in Apple Motion, not even After Effects, in Apple Motion, because it's what I knew at the time. Doing like a half-hour chroma keyed video with like visual effects, needing to deliver it the next morning, and so setting it to render, and the little progress bar tells me it's going to take like 8 hours. And then you can never trust a progress bar, so I would go take a nap in the green room, set my alarm for like 2 hours later just to come back and check on it, only to find that it stopped because it's encountered an error of some sort, and having to fix whatever error that was and restart it. And yeah, I've spent too many nights doing that.
So, hey, let me ask you a question. We've talked about this before. What's your monthly rent?
It
We
is
talk about it on the podcast. I don't want to.
Yeah, I mentioned it yesterday.
I think we've talked
or
okay.
last week. It varies because like I also pay for utilities and blah blah blah.
All your other stuff, yeah.
All the other stuff, but it's between like 16 and 17.
Okay, so here's what I have started doing, because Jennifer and Betty want to get out of the town that I live in,
right?
And they want to move. So in my budget, I'm pulling up my budget now.
You can't do that in a small town, Paul Goody.
And let me pull up my budget. What I am doing is I have my whatever you call it, little cheat sheet. They say to do the 50, 30, 20. 50% of your paycheck is what you need. 30% is what you want, and then 20% is savings and paying down debt.
Okay.
Mine
so what you need is like rent, food,
yep,
utilities, clothes.
Yep. Mine is 60, 30, 10. But I'm married. And we're a single income household. So we need more stuff, in my opinion, than a lot of people would out of my paycheck. So, but what I've done is I've put my rent, which normally, as we know, is $850 or whatever. We've put it to $1,800, so that we can get used to paying, the rent, and then what we have left over just goes into savings for moving expenses, so that we'll be more ready to make that transition.
Do you have a timeline for this?
Well, no, we don't have a timeline, but we do have a
Betty graduating high
date.
school is when you're gonna start seriously thinking about it.
Start seriously thinking about it. Yeah, we're not going to do it until then. Obviously, yeah, I don't know if you deal with this, Ben, or not, but I don't talk about work, as we know. It's a standard thing, but there is something I think that is the normal human condition, and it goes like this. You think, this event is terrible, like something happens, like your house gets demolished by a tornado, or there's a fire. Let's say there's a fire, and you're like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Nothing possibly could do, and then something else happens, and then something else happens, and then something else happens. This is how the bad days that we have kind of happen, right? One of the things that I notice about myself is that lots of times the bad day is rooted in my reaction to a thing that happens. Like, and I'll give you an example of something that didn't happen to me, but that I witnessed. Okay. Probably talked about this on the podcast before, but I think it'll be new for you for a little while. I was on a construction site, and there was in Safeco Field, which you're familiar with.
It's now called T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile Park, and that when you're in the sort of the upper stands, there's glass that protects the people from balls. Kind of like there's glass in front of the seats, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And there are also monitors. that you can watch the game on. So I witnessed somebody, again, not me, I witnessed somebody who was on a scaffolding bash a TV with the top part of the scaffolding, get mad, hit the scaffolding hard with their hammer. The handle of the scaffolding, one of the things that, locks down, flew off and hit one of those windows and shattered one of those
Oh,
pieces of glass,
Jesus.
shattered that.
Yeah.
That second piece of damage was from his reaction.
Yeah.
In the same way, right? I read something, I freak out about it. I want to write an email about it, and I spend a long time writing an email and rewriting the email, rewriting the email, rewriting the email. Jennifer says to me, "Hey, why don't you just not write this email?" And I'm always like, "Well, I have to. I have to write this, And so
people need this information.
yeah, exactly. And then I stay, it ends up being a problem for me and for the other people, and like it turns out that the email that I sent, nobody even read it, whatever, one of those things. So the fact, oh, I have to stay up really late writing this email, maybe I didn't. I felt like it was my duty, that I had a responsibility to write this email, but maybe I didn't have to write the email, right? Maybe I could have just let it play and see what happens. This is one of the things I think about a lot. So as an example, I am doing this thing where I have this amount and I'm saving money and all that. The idea that I don't want to pay for something, right? Like I don't want to buy that because it's too much money, right? Even though I could buy it, and I'm not buying it because I think something might happen later on. I think that's fine, but it is also sometimes me creating problems for myself, I think. And I don't know where I was going with that, but now I'm done talking about it.
Do you identify that in these moments? Do you think to yourself, I'm
Absolutely not. No.
buying this,
Only
I'm creating a
afterwards.
problem? Yeah.
Yeah, only afterwards. And I think it might be that obsessive compulsive thing that we talk about.
Yeah.
Jennifer knows that she can't really talk to me when I'm like that. But afterwards we debrief about it.
Are there telltale signs, like when you're out and about?
Absolutely, yeah.
She can tell when like Paul's in one of his modes.
Yeah, well,
moments.
Here's the thing, right? I won't drink water, I won't eat anything, I won't get up to use the restroom or whatever. I will just be focused on whatever task it is I'm doing.
Right.
And just getting angrier and angrier, basically.
Get up, walk around. That's what I did when I was, at my desk at like 4 a.m. and just completely freaking miserable. And if I'm honest, slightly hungover because there was an event at the theater that I had some wine at. And like every 10 minutes, I just had to get up and walk around because I'm like, I'm almost 50 years old. Why am I pulling an all-nighter for a stupid video that,
Oh, Ben, I gotta say, I mean, it may be different for you, but when you turn 50, this will actually happen. You will think to yourself, when you do anything, I'm 50, and two things will happen. I'm 50. What have I done with my life? What am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
And not to sound too maudlin or anything, but this podcast is one of the few accomplishments that I have. The fact that we do this consistently is good for me. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, well, at least the podcast is on Thursday, or at least I've banked a podcast.
Yeah.
That would be fine too. Playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends is another thing. But this whole thing of indie RPGs, which I really do like them, has soiled it a little bit to me, because now it's like, yay, playing D&D with my friends. D&D is owned by TSR, which is owned by Hasbro. Corporations suck. What about playing the thing where I'm a little flea with a bunch of little fleas and we're all being in a gambling ring together, that kind of thing. Why am I not playing that? Because I don't have I don't have those people. Those people are not people that I know or hang out with personally. I could play with them online, but as we've talked about before, Ben, playing games online, and this is how I know. I played I played a game online with friends, people that I met on the internet who are really, really great, and I had a good time, right? And that's surprising because normally I don't, if that makes sense. Um, so I don't know. I feel as though I need to play my ukulele more. Whenever I play my ukulele, I feel like I've done something. I need to draw more comics. Whenever I draw comics, I feel like I've done something.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't
what
know.
I did stop doing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I get into this habit of comparing myself to other people, and
Hmm.
that's where I kind of go. I either like I have friends in high school who I'm still friends with, and I sometimes I think about their situation, and I'm like, well, thank God it didn't end up like that guy, you know. And
Yeah.
then I look at other people in my life, and I'm like, why haven't I accomplished as much as they have?
It's funny. Do you ever think about going back to school? Oh, I should go back to school.
I used to, but here's the thing: I feel like I'm getting too old. You're not.
When you,
It's a silly thing to think
well,
about, but
this is what I was going to say. When you turn 50, anytime you have that thought, you're like, no, I'm going to
yeah,
be older than the professor. I don't want to be
exactly.
that guy. I don't want to, I should just read a book on it and that'll be
Yeah.
just as good. And actually, I don't know. For me, reading a book on something is often as good because, when you go to a class, they have a book that they want you to read anyway. But then you just talk about the book. I don't know.
That the professor wrote that costs like $350 from the university bookstore,
Did I
or
tell
maybe
you
much more.
that one of the people that I took a class from at the University of Missouri Columbia was a forensics guy who was famous for proving that a guy killed his wife because he found a way to figure out from the bone fragments that she had started and stopped taking a medication within a certain period of time.
I don't think
True
so.
story. I was in his class. Also, I was in a class that who's the Skarsgård that was famous before the Skarsgård brothers were? Was it Michael Skarsgård?
Stellan? I don't
No,
know
no.
any Skarsgård
Stellan is
before
the
Stellan.
dad.
Yeah.
Skarsgård Michael. Okay, so you remember John Hamm's John Hamm on Saturday Night
Yes.
Live?
Yes.
They did another version of it, which is the blank Skarsgård Sarsgaard that protected you from SARS. I think it's Michael. I want to say it's Michael.
I don't
But
know.
he's not one of the Skarsgårds like that family. He's a different guy with the same last name.
Oh, okay. I did not. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, in the Kinsey film, I took a class on human sexuality from a guy who was played by, or at least was part of the Skarsgård uh, characters, like you
Gotcha.
know, uh, when they have a composite character, he was one of the guys that was, and he told us the stories that they had in the movie, which was really interesting. I was like, oh, that's that guy. I've seen that happen.
So,
Kind of
but
cool.
this was a human sexuality class. This wasn't a theater class.
That's right. Human sexuality.
Human
Interestingly enough,
sexuality
Ben.
for actors.
Yeah. Inter Geology for actors. Okay, these are rocks. Um, so interestingly enough, there was a swingers like little circlet that was around in the town where I went to college. It was like a little zine that had people who were swingers, and I recognized my professor in the swingers magazine that
They would
some
like post their names or like a
oh
notice. Like,
it's a It's a little photo, and it says, if you'd like to meet me, uh,
Uh,
do this thing. It was at a friend of mine's house. They had it, and I was like, hey, that's my professor. Because it was an older guy, wearing one of those antennas, the little alien ball headband things.
okay.
It's a headband. It makes it look like you have an antenna. He was wearing one of those and naked. I was like,
I
okay, well, that happened.
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to imagine like seeing some of my theater professors on a photo for a swingers club, and
Yeah, naked,
it
naked.
would not make me want to go, and it would not pique my curiosity. I would
Yeah.
very much want to not do that.
Oh, and this is the thing, right? I say it's like a dating. It's like a dating. Like the Strangers Classifieds, right?
Very much
For
pre-internet hookup sites.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I just want to make sure it wasn't like, hey, come meet all of these people. It was, hey,
Right.
meet this person. Hey, meet this person. Hey, meet this
Yeah.
person. If there were a magazine, now this is interesting. If there was a magazine that every page was like 8 people, and you were going to meet all 8 of them, no matter what, it might be kind of weird. Um, so hey, we're a fourth of the way done of our little gambit thing.
25%. Although we've done a number of
Yeah.
twofers in the past couple of months, we're used to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's fine. I just want to make sure all of my devices
Oh
stay
yeah.
charged and good. We'll
Well,
see
all
what
my
happens,
stuff is
Ben.
plugged in,
And if
except
not,
for my phone.
I'll call you on my phone, and I'll be, you know, I'll still be on, but you won't be able to see me if my thing dies. If my thing dies, the Paul Goody story. Hey, what's happening? Cave of
I was
Bones.
I was talking with a friend, and she was talking about different types of USB connectors.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to use a swear here, but she said, this one looks like a gently fucked up square. And I'm like, gently fucked up square, the Ben Lawrence story.
Hey, look at that. Cave of Bones, my wife was watching it. About Jennifer Fact Checker from the early days of the podcast when she participated. Um, you might know her also as the woman who's getting a facial right now, who might text me. You might notice I keep on looking at my phone. She might text me if she needs me
Or will
to
she need like
give
a ride or
her
something?
money.
Oh, I see.
She's using a gift card. It's possible that she wants more than what the gift card will provide.
Copy that.
Well, that's where I come in. Paul Goody, more than a gift card.
You are the money man. You
I
are the
am
dreamer of
the
dreams.
somewhat money man. Um, here's an interesting thing, and I'll tell you. Um, I have enough in my savings that if I needed to, I could pay off my entire car loan. My car loan is not that expensive. So that's how I know that I don't have a lot of savings. Like this is a thing that happened to me, right? I was sitting and somebody was saying that they had $70,000 in savings.
Wow.
And I was like, I had two thoughts right away. Number one was 70,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money, is my first thought. And my second thought was 70,000 is more money than I've ever had in any bank account at any time. Like
Ever.
it's an amazing, crazy amount of money. And
It's
yet,
also an amount that can disappear right quick.
yeah. I had a person that I knew who had $500,000 at one point in time and decided they weren't going to work anymore. And it didn't last as long as I believe they thought it was going
Because
to.
maybe they bought a house and a couple cars and a lot of toys and went on vacations. And the worst thing you can do
exactly.
for somebody is just give them a whole bunch of money all at once.
That's what I hear, Ben. The story is that people who win the lottery have problems
Yeah.
because
There's
of
a
that.
really interesting, I think it was a This American Life episode from years ago where they talked to a guy who was in a business that gave lottery winners full payout of their lottery winnings in exchange for like the annuity or whatever the monthly
Hmm.
or annual cost. And he's
Yep.
like, yeah, 90% of these people were bankrupt within 10 years. Or
Yeah.
maybe not even that long, you know? There have been a number of studies about former or retired NFL players. Like NFL careers are remarkably short. If you're lucky enough to make it into the NFL, I think the average, I'm going to use the term lifespan, but I don't mean it in terms of like a human life.
Yeah.
I mean it like in terms of your playing time. It's like 5 to 7 years, right? So these guys
Wow.
are paid incredibly well, and you go into the NFL right out of college, right? So these are 21, 22 year olds up until they're like 28, 30 years old. And now they have millions of dollars and all this free time because they're no longer playing ball. Never mind the sort of like health aspects that you're saddled with after
Yeah.
an NFL career. But some ridiculous number. I just looked it up recently because I was having this conversation with somebody and I wanted to keep it right. And I can't remember what it is right now, but it's some ridiculous number, like 2/3 of former NFL players have to declare bankruptcy within like 3 years of retiring from the NFL because you get used to spending that money to having that lifestyle and you don't know how to manage it.
Yeah. I got really thrown off when you said keep it right. I was like, whoa, what happened? What is that? That phrase sounds weird. Why does it sound so weird to me? And I realized that it was the opposite of keep it wrong. Just feels kind of odd. Oh, so the weird thing about sleeping in the chair is I haven't really slept in the chair since Edward came to live with us,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't know what to do about it because it's not comfortable for him there. But he likes sleeping next to Dad,
Does he
so it's
normally sleep in the bed with you?
yep. Normally sleeps in the bed with me, um, which I've come to be okay with. For a little while, it was weird. I was like, what if I smash him? What if I roll over on him? That kind of thing.
He'll get out of the way.
Doesn't happen. Yeah, dogs famously living beings that respond to stimuli and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but still, it is a very very odd situation to be in. What just came over me? I don't know if you saw it or not. Every once in a while, I don't talk about work, but every once in a while, I'll think about something at work, a looming, possibility. Like if I'm waiting on a decision from someone, and I will think to myself, what if they just made their decision, right? And I also noted that things are never done, right? I'm constantly there's never a point in my job where I've finished what I'm working on
Yeah.
because I'm doing maintenance with stuff. And Jennifer fact checker, my wife, Jennifer Pratt, blah, 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 said, yeah, at one point in time, there was a distinction for work like that, and it was called women's work, housework, chores of that nature that you did, and then you did again, and you did again, and you did forever because, the house was always going to be dirty. And I thought about it and I realized that, yeah, that's something that really bugs me, right? And it goes again to the obsessive compulsive thing. And, I was thinking about the idea of calm, right? Imagine if you will that you're on a desert island and there's no one to tell you anything, and there's a tree with mangoes on it, and all that. And all I could like immediately, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get burnt. Oh, look at these bugs. Where are these mangoes coming from? What if this is someone else's mango tree and he comes back and I get in trouble because I ate all of his mangoes? Is there a spot where a canoe landed on the all these kind of little things? And it reminded me that Lost was done. I watched all of it. I've watched every
yeah.
single episode. And can I tell you the best quote unquote part of it?
When it was finally over?
No, no. Every single thing that I read about Lost and about the Lost ending is make sure that you watch the full Lost ending and not, not Lost season end 1, season end 2, not the split one, because they made the split one for syndication and it's not as good as the full episode.
Okay.
So I'm watching it on Hulu and I'm doing that thing where I, skip forward to the next one. And we're getting to the last episode. I skip forward, last episode, season finale, part 1. And I'm like, ugh. So I watch part 1, I watch part 2, and it's, getting to my bedtime. And I'm like, okay, well, that was still kind of nice. And then it says next up, season finale full. And I'm like, so I watched that the next day. And they weren't lying. The people who said that it was better, absolutely. A lot of the stuff that was taken out was all the sort of
the orgies.
Stuff. No, not that I know of. But there's a scene. Spoilers. There's a scene where Jack's father's coffin is being loaded off of the plane, and they intersperse it with other people going about their days and stuff like that. And it's really nice. There's music playing. It's really cool. For the syndicated one, they cut that all out, and it starts at a certain other part. Half of conversations are missing.
Yeah.
And the stuff that's missing from the conversation is allusion to other things.
Yeah.
It's all... anyway, it's good.
Syndication, they had to cut all that for time because there's only so much commercials they have to air. I read a story where for Seinfeld, I can't remember what the exact number was, but they actually sped up the entire show by a certain percentage, an imperceivable percentage, just so they could put more commercials into the syndicated reruns.
That's too bad. But it probably made it sound a little snappier. I don't know. There is... do I want to mention this? Yes, I think I will. Do you remember No Such Thing as a Fish?
No.
Okay. I was listening to that podcast, and I can't recall her name, but there was a comedian who was on there who has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
She's funny. I've listened to it a lot, and I accidentally hit the button that made it move it at double speed. Her parts, because it is speeding her up, her parts sound like her talking at normal speed, and everybody else sounds super fast. And then it gets to her, and it talks at that speed again, and it made me remember. Do you remember The Facts of Life?
Yeah.
There was a character who had cerebral palsy on that, and she had a T-shirt that she made that says, "I don't have cerebral palsy, I'm drunk." And that reminded me of Jeff Goldblum, where there was a thing that somebody did where they took the iPad, the Apple commercials, and put them at like 1.5 or 0.75 speed.
Yeah, they slowed him down.
And he sounded drunk. And so it is...
They've done that with George W. Bush, too.
It's very strange to think about the fact that we are actually putting ourselves in slow mode after we've been drinking. We're actually moving slow. Of course, I don't drink.
No, you don't talk about work.
Wine. Dracula. So Blade.
Blade
Mr.
time.
Ali, whose name starts with an M.
Marshala.
Ali.
Is he the new Blade?
was at least at one point in time the new Blade, and I witnessed two people talking about it, and somebody saying I don't want the MCU to put Blade in, and somebody else said, uh, Marshall Ali exclamation point, and the person said, yeah, he'd be good, but I don't want it to happen, and I wasn't sure if they knew that he was actually picked to be Blade, or if they thought that the person was just throwing out a suggestion.
Uh, he's actually
But
he's
yeah,
already he's already had a role in an MCU adjacent property. He was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
he was indeed Cottonmouth in Luke Cage, um, which is interesting because I think, and I could be wrong, is the MCU and the Netflix Marvel stuff, have they had any characters from those in the
Yes.
MCU yet?
Daredevil, I believe, has crossed over.
Okay, there we go.
I believe that
Charlie Cox.
I believe
I
that
just
there
have
are
to prove that I can
plans
remember names.
for Jessica Jones as well to come over to a proper MCU property. If not having her own show, then it's at least appearing in something. But you know what? Ever since like Endgame and Phase 1 of the MCU, I am not keeping up at all. There's just way too much. I haven't seen over half of the movies. I haven't seen any of the TV shows. So, like, Secret Invasion's just wrapped up. Apparently, it's been terrible. But, like, there's another MCU property that I'm probably not going to watch.
Started watching Secret Invasion and I stopped. Not because it was terrible, but just because I was like, well, I've got other things I want to watch.
There's just too much.
Every once, like, I still haven't. This is the thing. Paramount Plus, right?
Yeah.
Has Twin Peaks on it. Now, I have Twin Peaks on DVD already. I don't need to get Paramount Plus to watch Twin Peaks, but I'm like, I'd rather stream it. It's better.
I don't want to have to get up off the couch and find the DVD.
Well, and the streaming is probably going to look better. The DVDs are encoded,
HD.
You know, that kind of thing. So there is that, right? But and Hulu, I mean, obviously I watched Lost on Hulu. There's other stuff on Hulu that's good. The one that I'm thinking I might get rid of is Peacock. I haven't watched anything on Peacock for a while. I got Peacock for Poker Face, and Poker Face was great. You know?
Yeah.
And I think Combo was on Peacock as well. So maybe I'll stick with it. But the main thing is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I like Hulu because it's got a lot of old TV shows that I used to watch. Like, I can recreate my Sunday night from junior high on Hulu by starting with, like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and then going to Married with Children and capping it off with In Living Color.
Wow. That is something for sure.
Oh, it's Simpsons. Don't forget the Simpsons.
Oh, yeah. Of course. The thing that I was... Like, here's a question. Have you ever seen Misfits of Science? Is that a TV show that you ever saw? There are a couple of shows that I realize probably are out there. Here, I'm eating some puffed millet, everybody.
Oh,
I apologize. You ever want to eat the stuff that was inside beanbags a while back? The little styrofoam pellets? Millet is exactly that. It's kind of crazy.
Yum.
It gets all over the place also.
Yeah.
So watch out for that, everybody.
I still have a bunch of sunflower seeds in the passenger side of my car because Cole and I went to go film something up in Blaine, Washington. And we bought, and there's a snack counter, and I bought like a Snickers bar and a soda. He bought these sunflower seeds because it was late and I had to drive home. And what happened? He was like dumping the sunflower seeds in his hand and then throwing them into his face. And I guess at one point when he was dumping the sunflower seeds into his hand, missed and dumped these sunflower seeds all over the seat, all over his lap, all over the floor.
Okay, so these were shelled sunflower seeds. right?
I'm assuming so, since he was
Well, you
not
would,
spitting the shells out in my car.
yeah. I was
Either
gonna
that
say
or he was eating the shells. I don't know.
you would know because you would see shells there,
Yeah, I
and
know he
also
wasn't.
throwing them in his face while they're shelled. Ah, dangerous. So
Danger.
little bit of sharpness. So I'm wondering about something.
What are you
When
wondering
we take
about?
our pause, should we yeah, how do I put this? I have to use the restroom
Okay.
at some point in time. I'm thinking what we do is like I started this one by saying, "Hey, it's me, Paul, and I'm calling Ben." I had a little bit of a little time with the audience.
Yeah.
Maybe after the end of this, uh, you have your little time with the audience at the beginning of the next one, or, and this is what I'm wondering about, how do you feel? Or should you have your little time with the audience now to kind of mirror what happened, and I might pop in at the very end.
Well, I don't know if I need my time with the audience. However, if we are going to take a bathroom break, I say let's just do it and have.
Oh,
I
you and
mean,
I both have a bathroom break?
so the live stream will have a pause, but or you know what else I could do? I could play a GudeLaurance video while we have our bathroom break.
Why don't we do that? That sounds great. It's and maybe we'll do this. Well, we probably won't do because normally what I'd be doing is I'd just be powering through, right? But what are we going to show the people, Ben?
Well, actually, let's look at what did we talk about last time when we talked about this week on Good. What's the last video
That's
that
a
we
good
need
question.
to show?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Well,
Now, for those of you, oh, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
We have 5-minute bachelor party.
We already did that, I think.
No, but I don't think
we already read it. Oh, but we never showed it. Yeah,
we
well, we
haven't
could do
shown
that.
it.
Now here's a question for you. Can you have the audio record so people can hear it on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Oh, you know what you know what we could do? You know what we could do? I'll put my headphones over my microphone. So they'll hear it very badly through that.
All right, I got to do
this will be great.
One other thing to set this up.
Okay. That way they also won't. Yeah, this will be good. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take them off. I'm gonna put them on the microphone, and I want you to talk. Okay.
I'm talking, and it's probably gonna be weird.
Okay, that works. I'll be back.
All right, me too. This may suck.
Spin the ball. Yeah. All friends. Yeah, there's some girls here, but big deal. All right, so we're gonna do a couple things. One thing that we're gonna do is I want to present Paul with a gift that we gave him. Ron, can you bring? Awesome. So a couple of months ago, Steve McCandless, Rick Miller, and I pooled our resources and we bought Paul and Jen a chromatic painting for their new house, wherever it may be. And so Paul, you should probably be the one to open it. It's upside down! Yay! Competition for that, and luckily Steven and Rick were there to give us some money. PBR. Or taste seltzer water if you don't want the alcohol. We're going to need some PBR. Come on. PBR. All right, I'm going to throw one. And oops. I'm going to throw another one. Nothing feeds a cold like PBR. Alright, the final tradition we're going to do is, Paul, before you get married, you have to go through an exam. After you have to be examined by a certified nurse. Can we have the nurse on the stage, please?
And hey, speaking of wrapping it up, Ben,
Yes, Paul.
it's time to end the podcast.
Hey, you're
For
right.
good.
No.
No, kidding. Hey, thanks everybody for listening to the GudeLaurance podcast. I was about to say thanks for listening to BigSoftTitty.png because I've been listening to it a lot.
So Paul, keep it wrong, and I'll talk to you next week in just a couple seconds.
Yep, keep it wrong, Ben. I'll see you next week in a couple of seconds.
All right, and we're not clear, but this is the cut point. Hey, Paul, how's it happening?
Hey, Ben, how's it happening? Opening up another of these delicious Waterloo orange vanilla sparkling waters.
Yeah, It's like a creamsicle you got there. I refilled my water dish, so
Kareem Sickle.
Bottoms up.
Kareem Sickle
Kareem
would be a great
Abdul-Jabbar
name
Sickle.
for a communist basketball. Hey, now here's a question. Is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar a communist? He's a
Why
man
would
of
you
many
ask?
talents and a wonderful, because then his nickname could be Kareem Sickle. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if you're listening to this, I do apologize. He is an author, as you know, Ben, most likely, of
Yeah.
many things. But the thing that I'm very, very interested in, the thing in my wheelhouse a little bit, he wrote some Sherlock Holmes adjacent fiction.
Oh, I did not know that.
I believe it's about his brother Mycroft. I think that's what it is. And I apologize again to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for not knowing exactly. But one of the reasons why he appears, I believe, in Glass Onion, I think he's in it. I think he's one of the mystery writers who is playing Among Us.
In Glass Onion?
Yeah. In Among Us, in Glass Onion, in Among Us, I did it again. In Glass Onion, our titular detective, who, Mr. Glass Onion, is in a
Benoit Blanc.
bath. Benoit Blanc is in a bath playing Among Us with a bunch of other mystery writers. And I think
Right.
one of them is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Well, one of them is also Natasha Lyonne.
Really?
Yes,
that's great.
Because it's I don't know if it was a little nod to the Peacock
Must
show.
be.
Because
Must be.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson is part of both of them. Like he executive produced the Peacock show, Poker Face. Why couldn't I think of that name?
So great, by the way. Poker Face, very good. Columbo, also very good.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar also fought Bruce Lee in a movie.
Yes.
And when I was a kid, my mom had a poster of it was a grid of like teddy bears, and they all were famous people's names that were bear puns. And the teddy bears looked, so there was a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and this teddy bear played basketball. I don't remember any of the other ones, but I do remember that one.
Hey, here's a question, another basketball adjacent question. If you and I are of the same time or not. Every once in a while, Ben, because you're
3 years
famously,
younger.
what is it, 3 years younger than me? Okay. Do you remember commercials where Dr. J had changed his name to Dr. Chapstick?
No, I do not. I'm not going to say I've never seen those. I just do not remember them.
A kid says, "It's Dr. J," and he says, "That's Dr. Chapstick."
No, I don't remember those.
Chapstick, by the way, famously not used as much as it used to be. Chapstick used to be all over the place. People would use it, and then it turned out that apparently it didn't help.
I had friends
or hurt your lips.
When I was in high school and college, used this lip balm. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it came in a tiny tin.
Carmex?
And I think Carmex, yes. And I believe the story goes that if it wasn't Carmex, it was a Carmex-like product that had tiny, like, pieces of glass in it that made microscopic cuts on your lips that I don't want to say forced, but prompted you to use more of the product because your lips were uncomfortable.
Funnily enough, from what I understand from a guy who worked on a construction site with me back when I was working on a construction site. Don't talk about work.
You talk about that work.
He told me that chewing tobacco has fiberglass in it, so that it makes little cuts in your lips, which gets the nicotine into your bloodstream faster. And
I don't know
that
if I'm gonna believe that, but it sounds plausible.
one time after chewing a bunch of tobacco, all the skin on the inside of his lip kind of just sloughed off.
Oh God!
And I was like, I don't know. It doesn't have to have glass in order for that to happen. It might just be a thing that you've stimulated that area more or whatever.
Have never had chewing tobacco in my entire life. Not even
Me
like to
neither.
try it in college when I was
Yep.
in my let's just fucking try it phase. God damn it.
Not even once.
Not even once.
Oh, you gotta mark down when you said
Yeah, I said the bad word.
Ben. Can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I don't swear that often, but then every once in a while I do, and I feel self-conscious about it.
I do too
Oh,
much.
it's when I play video games. When I play fast-paced video games, and things are happening, it just comes out. All the swears come out
Yeah.
of my face,
Of your face.
my face hole. It's true. So I am holding a Life cereal. Box here, and Life is Awesome, world's most legendary rock song.
Life is pretty great.
I don't have my
Mikey likes
glasses,
it,
and
at
we're not gonna do this. I don't think. Wait, is Mikey likes it? That's not Life cereal, is it? Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking
Wow.
of commercials from when we were kids,
he likes it. Life is really good though. Life is tasty.
is that your go-to cereal when you buy cereal?
These days, yes. It wasn't before. But
Yeah.
no saturated fat, no trans fat.
I
And
would
so-
I really loved grape nuts for the longest time, and I think it's just because like I would put like a spoonful of sugar on it, and then like when you're done eating the cereal, you have like a little dessert at the very end with this sugar
Sugar milk?
sediment that has settled. I no longer do that. I don't even have sugar in my apartment. That's how non. I mean, I have sugar things in my apartment, but I don't have like a thing of sugar.
Like a thing
However-
of sugar, yeah.
Like a thing of sugar. But I haven't bought cereal in a long time because I don't eat breakfast. But when I do feel like eating cereal, I generally go towards either Cracklin' Oat Bran, which was like an oldie, healthy cereal.
yeah.
Which I don't even know if they make it anymore because the last time
They do.
I looked, I couldn't find. I guess my store was out.
Maybe they stopped within the last, they might have stopped
Yeah.
within the last 5 or 10 years. Maybe.
Who
It's been a
knows?
while since I've had it.
The store
But
I
it
was in
tastes
didn't
like-
have
it
it.
me as a kid, Cracklin' Oat Bran, it tastes like cookies. This tastes like cookies, kind of. Famously, I hardly ever eat cereal with milk. If I, maybe
'Cause you're a big
maybe soy
weirdo,
milk now,
or
whatever.
just to be a
'cause I like
contrarian?
to eat it with my hands. I don't like using spoons.
You don't just on
Uh,
principle.
Yeah, exactly. It gets caught in my beard. That's why when I was a kid, I hated it.
Kidding.
Didn't have a
I'll
beard
still
as a kid.
I'll buy
You know.
Lucky Charms just because that was one of my favorite cereals, like treat cereals growing up.
Yes.
Like we had the healthy cereal, we had the Honey Nut Cheerios in the house, and
Hey, we finally have something that makes sense of something else.
what's that?
Okay, get your pen ready, Ben.
I have no
In
pen.
placement, just get ready to timestamp. In placement, Lady Doris. At one point in time, I call you a Lucky Charms motherfucker, and I don't remember why exactly that happened.
I remember the line, but I don't remember why we put Lucky Charms in it.
Yeah, I think that we were looking for the thing is that I believe the idea. I don't know if we discussed it, but I think the idea is this that I call you Lucky Charms like in a way that in a tough
Yeah.
TV show,
Yeah.
like NYPD Blue or
F me,
whatever.
F you, you Lucky Charm mother. Yeah.
Yeah, like the but the Lucky Charms is then offset by actually saying a real swear at you.
I'm wondering, because we did say the swear in the song, but I'm wondering if we cut off the F word after Lucky Charm's mother and then went right back to the music.
I don't think so. I think we actually say it. I think it's possible. There are a couple of times where that same sort of thing happened. I believe in my version of Loser by Beck, which you can find on my SoundCloud if you ever look for my SoundCloud. There's a thing where I mess up and I keep it in because it's nice.
It's fun.
Like I'm like, oh, whoops, and
it's
yeah,
how the sausage is made.
exactly. In the same way, placement, Lady Doris. I think there are a couple of times where the same thing happens, like where we messed up when we were recording thing.
Yeah.
And we kept it in, and it sounds better than whatever we would have done.
Song is just a hodgepodge of noise. It's one of the first things we did too.
I think it's really good. Were you playing guitar in it? I think you might have been.
Probably ukulele.
Yeah.
I remember there's
Most
a
likely.
ukulele loop in that song that I think I played.
I believe it was you.
Yeah. Ukulele.
And then, 20 years later, and there, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Paul Goody admits that Benjamin Lawrence played the iconic ukulele riff from Placement Lady Doris.
And owes so much money in back pay.
I do think about that. Here's my new thought about AI art. That eventually, just because of the way that things work, everything is going to be recreated by AI. AI is going to make something like, because
and make
there are
it better.
so many people and so many things have been made, right? They're going to make something, and you are going to find someone who has made that thing before, but the AI may not have made it on purpose off of that person's thing. Does that make sense?
We'll
Like,
keep going and I'll let you know.
like there might be a picture that an AI comes up with, right?
Yeah.
From looking at all the pictures of things on the internet. That is a guy in an orange shirt wearing headphones with his hand up. And then in a little corner, there's another guy in a brown shirt with glasses.
Also wearing
looking
headphones.
at the camera. Yeah. And we'll go, hey, that's just like us. Maybe it was based on us, but it wasn't based on us. It's just the fact that much stuff has happened. And we'll be back to where we were at before.
You,
sorry, go ahead.
you just described something which I think is interesting to call out. So you're on an iPad on Zoom.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And so your own picture is big and my picture is small and tiny in the corner.
Absolutely not. This is what is happening. I mistakenly thought that you were on an iPad also because, why not? Your experience is the exact same as mine. So I was trying to describe the picture that you would be seeing so that you would see that I was describing the thing that you were looking at. But because you're on a computer, that's not the way it worked. But now I am going to make myself big.
I have
Just,
gallery
look at that.
view.
It
Hey!
works.
Hello,
Hey!
me!
Now I'm big and you're small.
Now I look like I'm in prison.
Tiny Ben.
In the wine.
Okay, now
Yeah.
I click you again, and it's you again. I like it when it's Big Ben, Little Me. That way the other me can't. Wait, do it again. Do it again. Good. Yeah, for me it was great. That's nobody else sees it, but it was nice. on my side. So yeah, the big thing that I was thinking about is like at one point in time I wanted to do this, and I still could, but I don't know if I'd make any money at it. Um, just Twitch stream forever. Just
Yeah.
just me, not, but never talk to the chat. I don't know if it would work. But like people would be like, does this guy even know that he's on Twitch? Who is this guy? That sort of thing.
I've heard every once in a while you hear of like a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer that just like streams whatever interests them, and once it like I think for one there's like a guy who did like a beer review every day and nobody watched, so like somebody on Reddit was like, hey, this old dude in Australia is doing a series of videos where he just reviews different beers every day, let's go give him subscribers. And suddenly this dude has like 100,000 subscribers. But the one I'm thinking of, the one I'm remembering now, is there was one guy on Twitch. It's like an older guy, and again, it's the same guy the same like Redditor who found him on Twitch found him the same way Drunk found us, by looking for like a stream with the fewest number of views, and started watching and like started interacting with this guy and found out his story, which was something like his wife had recently passed away and he had no friends or family in town, so he was doing this just to like talk to something, you know. And then so the Reddit army went and was nobody was trolling him or anything. It was all done as a positive thing. But
that must be nice.
Exactly. You mean they didn't brigade you with anti-Semitic slurs? That's not the internet that I know.
Brigade the Sad Man.
That's the name of my new album.
Yeah. Which one of you is Brigade?
Brigade and the Sad Man.
Brigade and the Sad. Ben, I feel like at one point in time I would have been Brigade, but now I don't know. Now I don't know.
It sounds like a 1970s buddy movie.
Yeah.
Or TV show.
It is interesting that at 50 I finally feel kind of like I'm an adult. Like this might be what adults felt like all the time.
You've reached your final form?
Maybe. I don't know. I still like playing around, don't get me wrong. But I feel as though like my image of an adult was just like, I can't do this, my mortgage or whatever. Where, oh, hey, speaking of a little dude, it's Edward. Come here, Edward. Get on this thing. Come on, get on your dog bed. Get on your dog bed, Edward. Come on, Edward. Come on, buddy. There you go. Hey, it's that guy. Oh, right. Has Edward already been on the podcast? Was he on the other podcast?
This is the first time today.
Okay.
For you and me.
Hey, buddy. Look, it's Edward, everybody. Edward is listed on his paperwork as a Chihuahua. But he's got the droopy ears of a beagle. Or perhaps a dachshund. So he's all three of those things.
All three. He's
a
trifecta.
Chihuahua. Yep. He is a beagle and he is a dachshund.
I can't remember when you said Sad Man, I thought Sandman, and I thought of the Netflix TV show. And I want to say that I think either they had just wrapped filming before the actor strike happened, or they had to shut down production. But I don't know if you heard this.
For season 2, you mean?
For season 2, yeah. SAG-AFTRA actually says they're willing to go the distance, and some expect this strike will last well into next year.
Whoa. And it was in solidarity with the writers, right? And so
I mean, it wasn't so much solidarity with the writers. They support the writers, but they were having their own contract issues.
And again, a lot of it is AI, which is ironic
Yeah.
because
Don't you think?
not having actors will give the studio reason to perhaps use AI and say, "Hey, we couldn't help it. We had to."
There was a story that came out where production studios wanted to take 3D scans of background actors and pay
Uh-huh.
them only $200 for the right to use their likeness in perpetuity. That's
Like
all these
forever
background forever and
yep.
ever. That's all these background actors would get is $200.
I will tell you this, Ben, and this is a true story. I forget which one it was on, but I signed a contract that said that you could use me in perpetuity, and they had me do a whole bunch of stuff, like a bunch of faces and a bunch of things. They're like, now turn to the left, now do this. So there is a
That
possibility that there is a model of me that's
was
going to
that
be
for
used.
lull work.
You know what? It might have been for little work. So yeah, maybe on Bravo. But here's the thing, Ben. This is what I'll say. But I don't think it was little work actually. I think it was something else, like a weird little commercial thing. Um, you know how the first actors strike got us reality TV? The first actors/writers strike
And
got
some
us
people are
reality
saying that's
TV.
why Donald Trump is president because
Yeah, it's
reality
possible.
TV made him famous.
So here's the thing: the way that I'm looking at this now, this may be the thing that gives us AI TV shows. Like
Written
this
and
might be it.
starring AI.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be its own genre of show.
Yeah.
Just like reality TV, there was stuff before it, but this will open the floodgates, and there's going to be tons of it. I think it's quite possible.
Yeah,
The
that's
very
crazy.
thing that they are protesting is going to come to being. It makes perfect sense to me.
Now that is irony.
There was some studio and Universal, if you hear this, don't sue me. I'm gonna say, like, there was some company like Universal, it may not have been Universal, who came under fire for cutting down some trees that were
Yeah.
shading protesters. Was it
Yeah, that was on
Universal?
the I think it was the Universal lot had
Okay.
this row of trees on the sidewalk that the writers and actors used for shade. And then the city is actually like they got in trouble because they did not have a permit to trim these trees.
Mm. Oh, so they just trimmed them. They didn't actually.
To be jerks, yeah. They didn't
I
cut
thought
them
they
down.
cut them down.
No,
Okay.
the trees are still there, but they look like all the leaves are off. It's just branches now. They look like, Halloween trees.
All the leaves are off. Yeah, these leaves are off. Who made all these leaves? Cause they look real off.
Oh gosh, don't get
Whoever
us a
made the
copyright
leaves.
strike.
Oh yeah, good point. Oh yeah, I mean, who knows, right? I told you my fear already.
You've told me many
That
fears.
they're talking about using AI to find out, like, well, we could probably use AI to find out what images were used to create the image, right? So the idea being that then you sue
And
them.
AI is going to tell on itself. Is that what they're saying?
Well, that's what they're saying. But here's the thing: I mean, when I got my video camera, right? First
Yeah.
thing I did, hooked it up to my TV, pointed at the TV, and did that whole thing where you record in the zoom and all that. What next? Running my hand drawn images through this thing to see what images my hand drawn images came from. Where because that's the idea, right? It finds they
Yeah.
find the DNA of the picture. So yeah, where's the DNA of the picture that I just drew out of my own head? That's going to be a crazy little thing to look at, I think.
Yeah, and then you realize that your entire life you've been copying like some art from like some 16th century Italian, almost line
Well,
for line.
this is the fear, right? The idea is, I've told you this before, and I'll say it again to Ben, to the people listening. this is the way it goes. First, we care about artist rights, so we say that you can't use images for AI unless you hold the copyright. And then what happens, Ben? What happens? I've said this so many times, you can probably finish the sentence. All of the AIs are owned by Getty Images, Adobe, that. In fact, this is something that's real.
Shutterstock.
Yeah.
Disney.
Adobe is doing the right thing, theoretically. And that's that for their AI, they're only using their images, the images they have the rights to, and the images that people give them the rights to.
Right.
So that's better than most of the other people that are out there. But eventually, like I said, this is it. I mean, I was torn, still am torn. I'm all for making sure that the people get paid, right? And I would agree that people whose images are on training data that someone else is using to train an AI that they then have subscriptions to theoretically their labor is being used to make money without their consent. I get it, and then we can get into, is it morally right or not and all that.
Right.
But again, it's the bank always wins, Ben. This is what I'm saying. And again, one more time, because I haven't
With feeling.
complained about this for a while. There was a guy who was like, yeah, say goodbye to your jobs, artists. Instead of hiring you to draw something, they're just gonna have guys in a room running prompts all day. And I'm like, you don't know what rich people can do. Rich people can just say, hey, artists, send me all of your stuff, and maybe if I like it, I'll buy it from you. They don't need to hire someone to draw stuff. People send them hundreds of drawings for free that they then choose from. And someone's like, well, yeah, but with AI, you can have it look like whatever you want. Same thing. Call for proposal. Please draw a cartoon bear that is riding a unit. They can do that exact same thing, right?
And if we like what you submit,
then they'll buy something for you. The difference between, and then they can give you instructions and you can try to interpret them. The difference between AI and a human artist to someone who is very rich is negligible, right? They aren't going to be really improving their lives that much. Who it's great for are little people like me, right? Where I can type in the stuff that I want, and then there's a picture that I like. Or I can do the main thing that I did back when I was doing it, which is great, which is I take two photographs and I merge them together into a weird photograph. And I still have, fond memories of just sitting there making new images all day. And they were crazy. They were crazy and awesome, and no one else made stuff that looked like the stuff I made.
All day and into the
it.
night.
Yep, exactly. But I'm not doing that anymore. Also, I'm not doing the New York Times crossword puzzle anymore.
Why
I bought
not?
a subscription to it. I was doing it. It became a chore. It became another job. It became oh no, I can't go to sleep. I haven't finished the crossword puzzle yet.
Right. It became homework.
Yep, exactly. And so no more for me.
You live your life for you, Paul Goody.
Yep. It's again, like I'm very, very happy with myself. I have Reddit on my phone still, but I have not been looking at it over and over and over again.
Not scrolling through Public Freakout or whatever the subreddits are that you liked.
That was the main one. Although Public Freakout, here's the thing. The politics of many of the people on Public Freakout, don't like them. Don't like them at all. Lots of people editorializing on the Public Freakout that you're watching bringing their own baggage into it.
And their own biases.
Exactly. Yeah. This is why you don't let boop go into a boop or whatever. But they don't boop it. They put their real.
They
real thing
actually write the bad word. They write the
He
bad
actually
word.
he actually just wrote it. He wrote it out. I can't believe it. Oh, did I show you my wart thing already?
On your
one
foot?
time? Oh no, on my thumb.
On your
I
thumb, yeah. No, we've
Yeah.
seen it.
Did I show you?
We've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah. It doesn't have the stuff on it anymore.
Ah.
And so now it's just, and the thing is, it may not be a wart. It may be a blister. I don't know. It's just a weird thing on my thumb hurts. There's a thing on my thumb that hurts. I don't know what else to say about it.
I don't know. Maybe you've just been strumming your uke too hard.
No, see, that's not what I strum it with. I strum it with,
Maybe you've
with
been
this hand.
fingering your uke too hard.
Yeah, eat it.
Yeah. The stream can't
The
hear
stream
it because
hates it.
The stream hates it.
The podcast, they love it.
Nobody listens to the podcast.
Oh man, is it true? Nobody? Not even.
Well, I
Not
mean, I
even
don't
one
know.
person?
There's I've given you these numbers before. Every time I look and at the download numbers, after a week or so, we get a pretty consistent 20 to 30 downloads. Now,
Interesting.
is that 20? Does that relate to 20 to 30 people listening to the show? Probably
Actually, listening
not.
to it, probably not. No. But we're taking up space on somebody's iPhone.
Somebody's podcast app on their phone. There's the GudeLaurance podcast. I mean, I'm one of them. I use it to make sure that I did everything correctly.
Yeah. How? To make sure that it downloaded right.
Yeah,
I'm
I know
like, by listening to it.
If a new
Gross.
episode pops up on my phone, then I know that I didn't screw up the RSS feed.
Very good. Yes. Again, Your Honor, please listen to Paul Goody saying he doesn't even know what an RSS feed is. I know what an RSS feed is. Do I know how to set one up? No. Could I? Probably. But I don't, is the thing. So yeah, it's one of those interesting things too. Whenever you think to yourself, oh, my life isn't fulfilling enough, the next question obviously is, well, what would make it fulfilling?
Right.
And it seems like a lot of the things that would make it fulfilling actually wouldn't be that difficult to do. Oh, I guess I'd like to read more, or I'd like to, like oftentimes it's hobbies, it's getting together with friends. It's not stuff like, oh, I would like to change careers. Right? Some people would like that.
Yeah.
But for me, I realized that, I don't talk about work. I was about to say something. Here's what I would say. What would make your life more fulfilling? And his answer is, I wish my next door neighbor would stop punching me in the butt whenever I walk by. Something like someone who is dealing with things that you would not know how to deal with, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, what would you do? You call the police, I suppose, right?
Well, that would
I've
be
seen public freak
the
out.
First thing you did,
Right? You'd
First
ask
off,
them to
be
stop.
like,
You'd say,
yeah,
hey, what are you doing?
Please don't do that.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Some of the public freak out things when I was watching it, are people being harassed who call the police and the police show up and nothing happens. It's like, sometimes they get taken to jail, but sometimes it's just like, you can't do that. Well, I wasn't.
Right.
Well, he said you were. Well, I
He's
wasn't.
lying.
I've got a video, that kind of thing. And you realize that it can start out from something so small, these beefs that people have,
Yeah.
But once the beef actually exists, it's self-perpetuating beef, Ben. The
Self-perpetuating beef.
the people are fighting because they're fighting. Oh, I haven't seen beef yet. I think that that's part of it. The people are fighting because they're fighting. Pretty
Beef is
sure.
good. I liked it.
Oh man, yeah. I keep forget whenever I'm like, what should I watch next? I keep on forgetting about it.
I think Ali Wong came through here recently on a stand-up tour.
Oh,
And there was apparently I want to say there was a surprise guest at one of the shows. Like she brought out Bill Hader. I guess they're dating.
oh, interesting. Okay.
So I have two episodes left of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, that's nice. How do you like it so far?
I'm digging it. I mean, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's it's a series where every episode is its own little movie.
An
And
anthology series.
and then yes, and thank you. For my brain kept going montage. It's montage. I'm like, no, it's not montage. Yeah, it's an anthology series, and so some are obviously better than others. But yeah, but on the whole, it's pretty good. I enjoy it.
On the whole, it's pretty good, says Ben Lawrence.
By
Product
Preparation
reviews.
H.
So hey,
It's fun
I
for you and
stopped
your
watching-
hole.
There's one
Family.
about a family. Yes. Who is that? Who is that?
I don't know.
I love it. I
Is
love
it
it though.
Rich Little from like not necessarily the news?
I think it's possible. So here's my question. Is there one that involves a rat of some kind?
Yes. There are
That's
many
where I stopped
rats.
watching. I forget why, but I didn't want to watch the rat one. So I didn't watch
I think
anymore.
that's like the second one.
Man, Love, Death, and Robots though. Good animation on that show. I will say.
Would have been my favorite ones. Like there was one Cabinet of Curiosities with Kate Micucci from Garfunkel and Oates.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Again, one of the best things that Scott Ackerman has ever done. A podcast name for a show where she talks about music called Playing with Micucci. I think that she actually recorded an episode of it at least,
There's
but I'm not positive.
There's a pretty famous outtake from, it's not even an outtake, it was in the show, from the Colbert Report, where he was talking about people who have donated to his super PAC. This was like in 2015 or 2016. And he was talking about how many of the Colbert's army, or I forget the name he had for his audience, but how some of them would like put funny names in the name field, and one of them, Munch Micucci, just made him break very hard.
Nice.
It's a fun little watch. It's fun seeing Colbert break.
One of the things that I liked a lot from my rewatch of Lost was the peripheral things that I saw. You know, where I was like, oh, let me look at this. You know, on YouTube or whatever. Unnecessary censorship from
Jimmy Kimmel.
there was one, there was one where Locke says, "I found your son's dog." That was really good. The other thing was, I don't know if you ever were you a Lost fan at all, Ben? Did you watch it when it was on?
No, never did. I saw the first 2 episodes and that was it.
There's an epilogue called "The New Man in Charge" that's fun. That kind of brings Walt back to the island. None of this matters to you necessarily, Ben, but it was nice. I liked seeing it.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah. So I often Google, can dogs eat blank? Just to make sure that, things are cool to feed.
Can my
Animals or
dog
not?
eat blank?
Exactly. And one of the things that I found out dogs can eat that he likes a lot are bananas.
Really?
If you've ever tried to shove an entire banana into no, what I'll do is I'll eat the banana and then I give him the little end part.
Yeah.
And if he's been a good boy, I eat the banana from the side where he gets the very end that's been in the peel. And if he hasn't been a good boy, sometimes he gets the kind of mushy end of the banana instead.
I mean, if he hasn't been a good boy, he still gets part of the banana.
Mm-hmm.
What sort
Yeah.
of reinforcement are you telling him?
That he's really great and he can never do anything wrong. But here's the thing. I open bananas what I believe is the correct way, which is
From the middle.
from the top of the banana, not where the stem is, but from the front part.
Yeah, apparently you
I
get
just
fewer banana strings that way.
You get fewer strings. It's also easier to open. It's very easy. You just take the tip and
Bite
okay,
it off.
yeah, clip it. Take the tip, squeeze it, and pull it, and then that makes it work.
Tacoma.
Yeah, hey. So but the big thing is that occasionally, like Cinnamon Life, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't want it, right? So that's fine. But there's also Chocolate Life, which he can't have because it has chocolate in it. But how much chocolate does it really have? Doesn't matter. He can't have it. Occasionally, what will happen is I will say to him, "What's that in your mouth?" And it is an entire mouthful of popcorn because Betty has been eating popcorn and dropping it, and he's just been under her chair scooping up the popcorn.
Yeah.
The reason I mention this is that sometimes I'm eating popcorn, want to hand him a little piece and say, "Do you want a piece of popcorn?" And he won't take it. So he's very choosy. He doesn't like
Well,
things all the time. He likes them whenever he likes them.
I mean, it's also could be one of those things where he likes the popcorn that Betty drops because he's hunting it himself,
He's paid the iron price.
as opposed to just being given it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's possible. Hey, buddy. How's it going? I do this. I call it prairie dogging, where I have him. And it's funny, too, because if you give him a little bit of back support, he actually, you can't see it, but he does have some pretty good posture. A little bit. Yeah, hey, buddy.
Well, I had a dream about an old dog, one of my old dogs, last night. And it's one of those dreams where, like, in my head, I know that, like, Rex died when I was in college.
Mm-hmm. Was Rex was Rex the dog that ran away when on walkabout? Or
yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That we lost for almost a week. One of the favorite ones that we've had when I was a kid, and he visits me a lot in my dreams. He shows up all the time, and in those dreams, it's always the same thing. It's like, "Hey, you're alive! This is great!" And I want to pet him because I feels like I've neglected him for the last 25 years.
It's really interesting, Ben. I didn't know that you remembered your dreams as much as you do.
Some of them.
Great.
This also, this dream was also, I had it after I hit the snooze alarm for the first time this morning.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, this is something that I read about sleep hygiene, right? That you, as a person who wants to have good sleep hygiene, should always, turn off electronics an hour before bedtime, right? That one you hear.
Yeah.
Which I've started doing. The other thing is that you never want to nap for more than a half hour at a time. And one of the things that I started noticing is because you're not napping for more than a half hour, you start noticing when you go to sleep, right? Like, oh, at least I do. Like I doze off, I wake up and it's 15 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, I went to sleep around 15 minutes in, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, and then all of a sudden I go to sleep right away, right? And I wake up and it's only been 2 minutes, but I've had a longer dream, that sort of thing. It's really interesting. And then when the van goes sideways, then you start falling, and then you fall in the dream.
Da, 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 da.
Dong.
I noticed that if I like, I'll try to read before I go to bed, but reading makes me tired, and especially like if it's the end of
Yeah.
the day and I'm in bed, I'll get through a chapter of whatever I'm reading, and then I'll like, ooh, I'm done, time to go to bed. Put the book down, take my glasses off, turn the light out, get cozy, and then I'll sleep for maybe, I don't know, half hour, and then I'm awake for like 3 hours.
Really?
It can be
Interesting.
not all the time, but that sometimes does happen where I'll wake up and I'll if I'm up for like another half hour, 45 minutes after already falling asleep, I'll just get up and read again.
Yeah. I
Just
mean,
sort of like
that
as a prompt to my body to like, hey, no, we're serious about sleeping right now.
that used to be what people would do, as we know. They go to sleep when it got dark, and they wake up sometime at night, and they get up, get a little snack, whatever, and then they
Yeah.
go back to sleep again. And the reason we don't do that mostly is because of lights.
Yeah.
It allows us to stay up at night more. There's some TV show. I don't remember what it is, but I'm sure that I can find it. Where a vampire is behind electric lighting because he wants people to be up more at night. And I'm like, is that correct? It's what I got from the trailers, right? But then I'm like, wouldn't the vampire want people to be sleeping at night so that he could sneak in and get their blood?
Maybe he doesn't want a meal, he just wants friends.
Maybe so. I guess so. That's the thing though, right? When everybody is always sleeping at night and there's hardly anyone out at all, that's when you can be a vampire more freely. So if you're friends with another vampire, it's like, hey, look at all these people that are sleeping. But yeah, you're right. Vampire can't go to see a concert or a movie. That's an
Not if it's
interesting thing.
daytime.
I didn't even think about that, Ben. But yeah, evening concerts, operas, stuff like that. In the olden times, when did operas happen? Before electric light, did they happen at torch lights, or did they happen? Well, I guess maybe that's the
Gas
open air
lights.
amphitheater. Yeah.
Limelights.
Hey, limelights.
It's called
Didn't even
limelight
think
for a
about that,
reason.
Ben. Yeah. Wait, is it a chemical light that they use
Don't actually
lime
know.
for?
I have no idea. Some sort of lime phosphorus. No, it just
Yeah,
lit limes on fire. Limes are famously flammable, so it just lit a whole bunch of them on fire.
Wait, are they really? Is that
And
true?
the citrus aroma that was in the smoke just made sure nobody got scurvy. No, I'm making
Ben,
this
I'm
up.
gonna have to ask you. Okay, I was like, I have to ask you. Are you kidding, or are limes flammable?
I'm
I've
sure,
never heard that, but I could see that as a thing that I just didn't know till now.
I don't know about how flammable they are, but I know that lime juice is one of those, invisible ink products where you take lime juice, you write on a piece of paper, then you hold it over a candle, and where
Oh,
the
yeah.
lime juice gets darker first.
Interesting. Lemon juice as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Oh, XTC, the band. Something all the time.
What about them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Senses working. Oh, senses working overtime.
Don't know it.
Senses working overtime. It is a
Census?
XTC song. Senses.
Sensei?
My senses. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses working overtime. Trying to tell the difference between a lemon and a lime is part of the lyrics. That's why I was thinking of it, I guess.
Ah, gotcha.
XTC was a good band. Are you familiar with them?
I'm not. No, I mean, I'm sure if you played for me their top hit single, I'd remember it. But
Like
they weren't.
one of the things that people know them for is "Dear God," which is sort of an atheist letter to God.
Okay.
It has the line, "Dear God, don't know if you know it, but your name is on a lot of quotes in this book. Us crazy humans wrote it. You should take a look." Which I like a lot. It's a good song.
So, in our final 9 minutes here,
Yes.
I don't know, Paul. Do you remember the last thing we talked about this week in GudeLaurance?
No, I do not, Ben. What was it?
I think it might have been when you and I participated in the Extreme Theater League
Oh,
at
yes.
Capitol Hill Arts Center lower level.
It was us versus Scotto and Jen Moon.
Yes. And
I do not remember this event, but I remember you and I
us
talking about it
yeah.
last time.
We won, by the way. I just want to point that out. So the next thing
Do you remember what we did? Did we ever write it down, or did we?
I probably have a script somewhere. It's not on the website, but I think it's either a performance review or an HR visit. You are the HR person, and I was in the pig janitor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about this last week. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the next thing we did was on January 6th, 2006.
January 6th. Uh-oh.
We debuted our new band with you on guitar and me on drums. Do you remember what we called ourselves?
Were we called Glitcher?
No.
Were we called the Schoolyard Bullies?
Nope.
What were we called, Ben?
Notorious Big Tool Madonna.
Wow.
Do you remember this at all? I think this might have been the only time we used that line.
I don't. Notorious Big Tool Madonna.
Yeah.
Was it because of Notorious B.I.G., Tool, and Madonna?
I have
were we
no
just naming
idea.
3 bands?
Probably. I'm pretty sure you came up with it.
Wait. Yeah, okay. So this is what I think. This is exactly what I think. The name of the band was Notorious Big Tool Madonna. The reason being that if we were playing somewhere and that was on the marquee, it was like a Bare Naked Ladies thing.
Yeah. Notorious Big Tool Madonna. We played a cover of "I'm on Fire."
Oh yeah.
Sadly, fortunately, no record of this performance exists.
I think that I used to play that with Bootsack as well. And what it is it's I use a slide, and it goes just like that.
It's like Primus meets Morphine.
Yeah. Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did you go and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire. Tell me now, baby, is she good to you? Can she do the things that I can do? I'll take you higher. What? I'm on fire. That's what it was. And I wake up with the sheet soaker wet and a freight train running through the middle of my head. It's very simple, but I like it a lot. And
That's what
very
we did.
very Primus, very Morphine.
Yeah. Was a little bit of Johnny Cash thrown in.
Yeah. And
For
wow,
seasoning.
Wouldn't it be interesting if we had 5 more minutes left on the podcast, which we do? Hey, good
Hey!
times. Let's see. Um, so I will say that I feel like not having caffeine and getting a full 8 hours of sleep every night is making me less nervous and less concerned. But in the same way, the events of my life are making me more nervous and more concerned. So it's like I don't know what I would be like if I were also drinking caffeine at this point.
Right.
Like I might have flipped out on people or done something. But I am still interested in seeing if anti
Aging cream.
you know no anti anti piracy. You wouldn't steal an actor, someone wrote. I thought was funny.
Yeah.
No,
That's exactly what the studios are doing.
Anti OCD is what I was gonna say. I don't know if anti OCD stuff would help me, but it might.
Are you on
But
any
again,
medication right now?
I am not on any medication, and I haven't been eating as much, which, also might explain my irritability. You know,
You're more irritable
like,
right now?
well, I have
Or is that
been-
what Jennifer tells you?
things have been bugging me. Things have
Yeah.
been bugging me. I've been less satisfied.
Like having to
been
do
more-
a podcast every week.
No, I love the podcast, Ben. Never stop the podcast. Never
Can't
stop
stop,
the
won't
podcast.
stop.
By the way, Kermit has lived down here since he appeared at the podcast that one other time. And so, Ben,
That one other time when you thought you were going to do the whole show as Kermit.
and then we were like, that's not
Oh,
gonna happen.
Kermit!
Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Anyway, yeah. And it's hi, Kermit. I don't want to get rid of the puppet, and don't listen to this. I don't want to get rid of the puppet, but the fact that his mouth isn't right just bugs the ever living.
It's not
heck
right,
out of me.
is it? It's a knockoff Kermit puppet?
It's a knockoff Kermit puppet. I don't think they sell. I don't think
Bootleg Kermit?
I don't think the Muppet place actually sells Kermit puppets. At least not
We
on
had
Amazon.
when I was a kid, we had a Kermit puppet and a Miss Piggy puppet, and I remember the Miss Piggy one, like Kermit was like felt Muppety, kind of like all that.
Yeah.
Miss Piggy was rubber, and so and not like Muppet felt, but completely rubber except for her hair. And
Yikes.
I would play with it all the time, and my hand would get so sweaty inside the puppet just because there's no breathing at all.
My hand would get so sweaty inside the puppet, says Ben Lawrence.
The Ben Lawrence
And on that
story.
note,
Hey!
hey Ben, I think that once we actually say goodbye, you know what? We might want to pad just a little bit depending on where you want to edit.
Oh.
Although we did it pretty much where you can get close to the edit.
I think we're good. I think
Close
if we're
to
a
the
couple,
edit, art of noise.
I think if we're a couple minutes under or over, that is not a big deal.
Oh, I think so. Maybe we could do it so we're right at 2. Wouldn't that be nice? Right, to 120 minutes. Wait,
100.
yes.
Hey, Kennedy.
Kevin Seal. What happened?
Former MTV VJ Kevin Seal.
We've seen him in real life.
Yes, I worked
And-
with him in real life.
Now, I will talk to you later, Ben.
Are
How's
we
it
done?
happening? Keep it wrong.